Hi everyone. So today's class is going to be a little bit shorter in length. It's going to be a yin class. And so we're not doing very many poses, but we're holding them for a long length of time. Excuse me. So I like to hold myself accountable and use a timer to make sure that I stay in the same amount of time each side. Okay? We're going to start in Sukhasana, and if your hips are up high, you can place a blanket, if your knees are up high, you can place a blanket or some blocks under your bum. We want to try to get our knees lower than our hips. If you have knee pain, you could use a book or a block, place it underneath your knee. The other thing that you can do is place the right foot out in front. So everything should be pretty loose. If you're up here and you're feeling pulling on the knee, just come down here, okay? So let's start with Sukhasana, right leg over left. Just lifting up tall, drawing in through the bandhas, pulling the pelvic floor muscles in and up. Belly comes in and up, shoulders back and down. And then we're going to go ahead and come forward. I like to move from side to side just to get into my mid-back. And then go ahead and come down to the elbows. You can also have a stack of books here. You could even have a chair with your head resting on the chair. That's an option as well. But let's just come into the position, return to the sound of the breath. Keeping in mind these longer holds, your mind tends to go other places. And especially if you're working from home, you start getting distracted by things. Try to just keep yourself on your breath, the sound of your breath and your practice. Always check in with the back of your neck. Your back of your neck should be long. And finally, the hips are very responsive to the breath, so try to send the breath to the hips. Placing the tip of the tongue behind the two front teeth, drawing the air in through the nose and down the back of the throat, into the lungs. Out of the lungs, out of the mouth. Out of the nose. Okay, so try to just keep the tip of the tongue curled up behind the two front teeth. That is a marma point that triggers the parasympathetic nervous system to turn on. So the relaxation response. And we could do with a little relaxation response in light of things. Okay, on your next inhale, you're going to go ahead and inhale and lift. Let's go ahead and come into Ardha Matsyendrasana. We're going to take the, the right leg under, and then your left foot will go in front of the knee. It can go all the way across, but if you lift your hips, it needs to go in front or at the shin. So lifting up nice and tall, and exhale, twisting to the right. You can hook your elbow, you can hold on to the knee. It's your choice. But remember, in this position, every inhale extending up through the crown of the head. Every exhale, twisting in a little deeper. Quite possibly your teacher will stop fidgeting. But try not to crank on the neck. Just add the add the head last. Relax that right shoulder. Inhale, lift up through the crown of the head. Exhale, twisting in a little deeper. Relaxing, hearing the sound of the breath. All right, let's return back to center and switch to crossing the legs. So now I believe the left leg is on top. You can always place that foot out in front. That's always acceptable. Okay, support the knees, possibly lift the hips. Nice deep breaths. Just going to shift from side to side. And then exhale, come forward. Back of the neck is long, no tension in the neck. Keeping your attention on your breath. Really try to feel the rib cage and the back body expand. Shoulders drawing away from the ears. And then inhale, lifting up. We're going to switch here. We'll place the left leg under and the right leg on top. Really root down through that right sits bone. Try not to lift the sits bone. Lift tall. I'm just checking my numbers. There we go. We're still recording. Exhale and twist to the right. So no tension in that right shoulder or left shoulder. If you're hiking it up, maybe just grab a hold of the knee. Okay. Checking in with the neck. The neck is nice and long. Almost there. Every inhale extending up. Every exhale just a little deeper in the tummy. Okay, and then back to center. Good job. All right, let's come into shoelace pose or half Gomukhasana. We're going to bring that left leg around. The left leg stacks on top of the right leg. So, oh yeah, never mind. I meant that we were going to do half shoelace. So you're going to extend your right leg forward, and then you'll just bring that left leg around. If you feel any hyperextension behind the knee, you can place something under your knee. Okay, we're going to lift nice and tall, and then exhale, come forward. So toes are up, back of the neck is long. Breathing into that left hip. Keeping your mind on the sound of your breath. Just try to keep your awareness within your mat. It's easy to get distracted at home and think about all the things that you need to be doing and seeing things that need to be done. But you'll come inward if you just keep focusing on your breath. Okay, we're going to inhale and lift. Now we're going to come onto our backs and come right into Sukrasana, or figure 4. So you'll lie onto your back. You're going to flex your right ankle or right foot, place your right ankle on your left knee. Okay, you have a few options here because your head needs to be down. If your head isn't down, place a blanket or something under your head. If it's too difficult for you to reach for your knee, then use the wall. Put your left foot on the wall, okay? Or you can have your left foot on a block or a chair or the couch, okay? But if you can thread the needle, go ahead and place your right hand through the hole, left hand on the outside. You can grab behind the hamstring or the knee. Nice deep breaths here. Excuse me. So once you come into the position, try to soften everything, even your grip on your knee, if you can soften that grip a little bit. And I like the front foot flex, but you can soften it just a little. Returning to your breath, placing the tip of the tongue behind the 2 front teeth. Breathing in and out of the nose. Expanding the rib cage on every inhale, every exhale, drawing the belly in and up. Try to relax the feet. Just checking in with every part of your body. Needs to soften just a little bit to go into the position. Okay, we'll go ahead and release that left foot down. Nice job. If you don't have a strap, I probably should have told you this before, but grab a strap. You may have to pause. Go grab a strap or a belt. Okay, now we're going to place the belt or strap on the ball of your right foot. I like to get my hip down away from the rib cage. Then I'm going to bring my left leg out, left hand on the strap. Bring the right leg all the way across, okay? If your leg is way up in the air, think about placing your foot up on a couch or a chair, okay? I do want your hips trying to stack on top of one another so your shoulder may be up off the ground. If this is too challenging for your shoulder, you can always use a book or a block, maybe, possibly. Jeez. You can place it under your shoulder so your arm doesn't fall asleep. So stack your right hip over your left hip. Nice deep breaths here. So this one we're going to hold a little bit longer than the other poses. So really try to find your breath and breathe in to the hips and the low back. If your neck permits, you can look to the right. Don't force anything in the neck. Just nice deep breaths. Just keep drawing your attention back to your breath. Okay, your next inhalation, you're going to lift the legs. So really engage your tummy to protect your low back. You can bend your knee if you need to. And gently draw up. Let's go ahead and bring both feet in. Lift your hips, then place them back down. Go ahead and grab your knees, draw them in, just to stretch out that low back. Excuse me. Then you're going to roll to your left-hand side and lift. We're going to come back in, do the other side. Let's go ahead and come into square pose. I'm just throwing this one in just because I feel like we need it. So in this particular pose, you're going to stack your shins. If you can't quite stack your shins, that's okay. You can place one foot out in front. You can bring your foot to your calf or just stack your ankles. Okay? If you're in cross-legged position, bring your feet away from your hips, okay? And then lifting up nice and tall, go ahead and come into the position. Let me grab my timer. If your knee's way up, you can use your block, prop it under the knee. So lengthening up, out through the spine, coming forward. If you can come all the way down, fine. You could have your hands on a chair or the couch, possibly the couch. Okay, let's go ahead and lift. Let's come out, bring both legs out in front of you. Let's just pump the knees a little bit, get some blood flow back into that right hip. All right, we're going to bring the right or left leg across this time. Oops, that's the one we did. Yeah, that's the one we did. So, if you're hyperextending behind the knee, no wait, sorry, I'll get it. Left leg across. If you're hyperextending down to the knee, just shove something under there. And then try to soften. Toes and kneecap is up, but just soften a little bit. Soften the right or left foot. And lift and come forward. Lengthening the back of the neck. Really concentrating on the breath. Try to relax the spot between the eyebrows, a little concentration spot. Bring the heads of the shoulders slightly down away from the ears, lengthening out through the back of the neck. Stay with your breath. Stay with your practice. And on your next inhalation, draw in the tummy and lift. Let's go ahead and come onto our backs. We're coming into thread the needle or Sukrasana, so if you need your foot up against the wall or on your couch or your chair or a stack of books, you'll place the right foot on the book or the object, flex your left foot, and bring it in. If you're just getting enough stretch here, you stay here, okay? If you can draw it in, thread the needle, reach around the knee, or you can reach around the hamstring. It's your choice. But the head is down on the mat. So if your head is up, when you come into if it's up, way up high, you need to bring something and place it under your head. Okay. Nice deep breaths. Let me have a little check on the time. Again, the hips are very responsive to the breath, so just keep trying to send your breath there, especially if you're tight from all those, what do we do, squat cleans and squat snatches. Just stay with your practice. Stay with the sound of your breath. So relax your ankles, relax your toes, possibly relax the grip on your knee. All right, go ahead and release. You're going to grab your strap. Place the strap on the ball of your left foot. Let's try to get this left hip down away from the rib cage. Excuse me. And then slide your right hand up the strap. Extend your left arm out. We're going to bring that leg all the way across, okay? So your left shoulder might be up off the ground. If it's too much for your shoulder, just slide your blanket or your block or your prop underneath that arm. I do want your left hip stacked on top of the right hip. So deep breaths here. This is the one that we hold for almost twice as long. So stay with it. Breathe into your breath. Breathe into your hamstring. Okay, strong tummy. Okay, you can bend your knee if you like. Go ahead and come up. Deep breaths. Let's just go ahead and pick up the hips, place them back down. Before we get up, let's just bring our soles of our feet together and open up the knees. If it's a lot of strain on your knees, slide something under your knees. Just a couple of deep breaths here, a few deep breaths here. Let's go ahead and bring the knees together. We're going to roll to the right hand side, coming into Agni Stalamba on the other side, or square pose. So left leg on top, right leg on bottom. Remember, the foot can be out in front. You can have a block under your knee. You could have your foot at the calf. You could be cross-legged or cross-ankled here. Right. So nice deep breaths, flex your feet, but then soften as you come in. Breathing deep into that left hip, let it go. So in these longer holds, just try to stay with it. You'll reap the benefits when the practice is over. Sometimes it's hard to stay in the present moment. We want to find all kinds of excuses to possibly stop the video and go do this or that and maybe come back to it, but just stay with it. It's only 45 minutes of your life today. Dedicate to open up those hips. It is said also that fear is stored in the hips, so it's good that we cleanse out those meridians as well as opening up the hips. With a strong tummy, we're going to lift and we're going to go right back into a wide knee child's pose. So let's take our legs out and just sort of pump them. Just nice deep breaths. Good job, Marlene. I know those ones are tough for you. All right, let's come into a wide knee child's pose. So big toes touch. I'm losing my pants. Big toes touch. And then we'll open up our knees fairly wide and come forward. So you have a couple of options here. You can have your forehead resting on your hands. If you have any back pain, or knee pain, you might consider placing something between your hips and your heels. If there's a lot of tension on the neck, or the other option you have is resting the hands on the legs. I like to grab my feet. However, if that brings any tension to the back of your neck, just bring your arms out in front or rest your forehead on something. And there's a couple of you that find child's pose pretty difficult. So what I suggest for you is to possibly come up higher with the head. Okay? Nice deep breaths. So really expand the rib cage on your inhales, especially in that back body. Release the tension from the thoracic spine. All right, let's go ahead, inhale and lift. We're going to come forward into pigeon pose. So hands under your shoulders, knees under your hips, lift for downward dog, and then you're going to bring your right leg up and sweep your right knee to your right wrist. Okay? No pain here. If you feel pain, you need to come back into the figure four. So we want to flex our left foot. Our right knee's at the right side of the mat, foot's at the left side. Our left foot is coming straight back, not sickling in. We're square across the hips. The other option that you can do is possibly stick something under your bum. Actually, I'm going to switch sides so you can see. Let's just start over and start with the left leg forward. That way you can see what I'm talking about. So if your bottom's way up in the air and you need to take pressure off the knee, you can stick a block under your bum, okay? Or even a pillow, your choice. But let's lengthen out through the back foot. I like to find the edges of this pose first by twisting to the left. Possibly some of you may get a bigger stretch twisting to the right and being upright. So it's important to explore your body and what works for you. Then go ahead and come down. I'm going to scoot back so I'm staying in the camera. Okay. So once you come into the position, breathe. Nice deep breaths. Expel all that fear from that left hip. Just let it go. Okay, cautiously. Let's lift. Big stretch in the hips. So strong tummy as you bring it back. Move slowly. Hands under your shoulders, knees under your hips. Lift for downward dog. You can drive back into those heels. Feel the difference in the hips. And then on an inhale, lift your right leg and sweep that right knee to your right wrist. Coming into pigeon pose. Try to find your edges here. No knee pain. And then back to center. Let's go ahead and come down. Excuse me. Returning to your breath. Breathe. Keep your attention and your focus on your breath, your practice. Okay, very cautiously draw in your tummy, lift, and come up into downward facing dog. Just pedal the knees out. And go ahead and come down. Bring your hands under your shoulders, your knees under your hips. We're just going to drop the hips to the left. You're making half moons. Really push them strongly to the left so you feel it in that hip. And then over to the right. Keep pushing, keep pushing. And then back to center. So it's your choice here. You can lie in Shavasana on your back, or you can take a seated meditation pose. Again, your choice. I'm going to end with a little 5-minute meditation. So you can be on your back or in a seated position. So go ahead and release your breath. Our centering thought is going to be, hope is my source of strength. So each time your mind strays, bring yourself back. My hope is my source of strength. Because hope and fear cannot live in the same space. Invite one or the other to stay in your head. I'm going to go ahead and introduce a Sanskrit mantra. You don't have to if you're not into Sanskrit. It's Shivo Hum, Shivo Hum, Shivo Hum. And I'll just say that over and over. Basically just means hope. and the potentiality of hope. Shivoham, Shivoham, or hope is my source of strength. Slowly returning to your breath. Deepen your breath. Releasing the mantra. If you're on your back, slowly make your way into a comfortable seated position. Whatever that looks like for you, give yourself a bit of time. And then drawing the hands to your heart. And I wish you peace, happiness, and good health. Namaste. Thanks for sharing your practice with me. I'll see you next time. Be safe and healthy.